welcome to Late Limbs. It is the first review episode of a live game week, and it is great to have the Super League back up and running properly. On this week's episode, we chat to Smuts about how his week's been. We also talk Christmas, as well as looking back at the predictions made by the managers ahead of the season opener, and of course those all-important first round fixtures. Let's greet my co-host, who I think has had a slightly easier week in terms of preparation this time round. How are you doing, Smuts?
Evening, welcome. Another week. I have been banished to the conservatory. If you can see a background here. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly that. It's my lad's birthday today. I can't believe there's a 2-year-old knocking about the place. Unreal. And yeah, been banished out here for whacking him up the last 2 weeks in a spin. So if you do see me shaking like a leaf at an all-you-can-eat vegan buffet, it's not because I'm nervous in your company. It's because it's fucking Baltic in this Arctic tundra that I've found myself in. So great, lovely, brilliant. I've spent all day in soft play and fucking putting Hot Wheels stuff together. The house is more full of Hot Wheels than the Springfield tyre fire, so it's ridiculous. It's been a day. Obviously, I got to see your beautiful visage after work today as well. Yeah, it was probably the only guest that we've had today that we actually wanted to see. I don't know if that's a positive or just a really low bar that you managed to sort of drag yourself over.
Get to the top of.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Fucking hell, I'm doing it again already. It's been 5 minutes. I've said it at least twice.
Well, I'm sure we'll start putting a counter up, and someone can.
After
keep
Duggan absolutely dragged me for it as well.
Which was a superb piece of content as well.
It broke me, absolutely broke me, buckled me completely. I was pissing myself laughing for 20 minutes.
So aside from the birthday today, any other highlights in the last week since we last recorded?
Nothing much really. I've been dragged around to in-laws and halfway across the country to do bits and pieces for Littleton's birthday and preemptively for Christmas and stuff. But I mean, other than that, and accidentally getting my Manscaped testicle moisturizer mixed up with my post-shave moisturizer. Yeah, other than that, it's been a pretty slow week. Yeah.
Well, we're recording this episode after my double header of evenings at training, so I had planned to adorn the Peng t-shirt Christmas jumper, but I am boiling hot and still sweating, so I decided just to keep it in my MMA gear for this evening and don the elf hat.
I like it. So you are trying very hard to be the yin to my yang constantly.
Exactly.
The Harvey to my Katie Price. Yeah.
If you like.
The Gabrielle to my Xena Warrior Princess. Yeah.
That means nothing to me.
I'm struggling with other famous duos. Yeah.
Ant and Dec?
Yeah, they're both the same, aren't they? Nobody knows which one of them are, in fairness, either. No, although you're the one with the beard. I'm the one who's married.
I'm definitely Ant.
Yeah.
Because I've got the giant forehead.
I'm going to say, I think there's less the giant forehead. It's just underneath all this fringe is a beast of a forehead. I just quaff accordingly. Whereas your airline sort of is hiding away from you.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm getting old well before my time because, as we all know, you are actually older than I am. So
yeah. Visually, you look at the two of us, you go, look at that cherubic face, and then look at the fella from The Office. Exactly.
From the neck down, I'm younger.
Yeah. So it was an hard paper round. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. From the chin up, I look older. Wow. I'm looking forward to chatting Christmas with you later, but I suppose we better get on to the main event, which is talking all things Super League. I've put the little banner along the bottom of the screen, which those watching will see. Those listening on Spotify won't. But just confirming the Christmas streaming schedule, subject to change. Plenty of games over the festive period. First of all, as a manager, how is it to be back?
Terrible. We got beat.
You did.
Without really ever looking like not getting beat at any point.
You looking forward to the congested fixture schedule?
I'm looking forward to finally getting a home game under the belt, and maybe a point at some point. The next game up is also going to be an absolute Stefan Posmering as East Coast, who look very, very strong already.
Well, let's have ourselves a little reminder of what happened. So the season kicked off Sunday night. These are the results from game week 1. So let's just have a flick through top to bottom. I think is the best way to go. So we had Badgers 3, Fulchester 1. If I remember rightly, Macca doesn't have a fantastic record at all against Tato. Tato had been trying to build it up to say that Fulchester looked a lot stronger this season on paper.
I don't disagree.
Realistically, Badgers deserved the victory, although they did take their time about it and had to come from a goal down as well.
They did indeed, yeah. Sort of that third, is it third? No, second substitution break at 60 minutes really was the difference between the two there. Huge change. It's good to see Saviola scoring straight away, where Patrick Kluivert didn't. Great.
Yep.
He's got all his key players doing what he needed them to do. You know, his 2 strikers scoring, his main winger scoring, and I believe he got an assist as well, if I'm right. Oh no, he didn't. The other side got an assist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that 3 goals and only 1 assist?
It is indeed.
Fair play. Yeah, I mean, Badgers look fucking strong, don't they? I think they were a lot of people's pick for a top 2 place. So certainly a space in the grand final. And as soon as we saw Fulchester's lineup, they look a different beast this year, and I think they'll be there or thereabouts, especially with Archie back and a few of the other signings they've brought in, like we said. But it depends on the game engine, as Macca keeps pointing out. They really did not take a shine to Fulchester last season. They apart from the first game, they started really, really strongly. Won about 6 or 7 games on the spin, and then lost 15 on the spin. So it really is like the Christmas schedule, subject to change with Macca. You don't know which team you're going to get. I think I've been speaking to Tato this week, and I've said that I want to get some of these teams early. I want to get Stackington early until Ross finds his feet in the league properly. I want to get Exiles early until while Rox is still playing mental formations. And I want to get Fulchester early before Macca loses his head. Realistically, but it's not. Oh, and Sloths. I wanted to get Sloths early as well, while Rob is still letting Alf go mental with tactics. And I've had a quick look at my fixtures to see if I've got any of them. No, is the quick answer.
Well, you've got Stackington.
Stackington, Sloths.
I mean, literally 3 of the teams you've said in a row there.
Yeah, exactly. Long and yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. Oh, that's way better than I thought.
Nice to know that the managers are doing their homework, especially before they start recording podcasts.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it was just Fulchester I was thinking of then.
Yeah. Should we go to game 2, which feature one of those opponents you said, your next opponents, East Coast running out 3-0 winners at Sancte. Duggan, understandably, pointing out that not having Campbell and die available for game
Yeah.
one against East Coast was always going to make an impact. Would it worry you though, if you were the Sancte boss, that as crucial, obviously, as two players are, if your team completely disintegrates not having two players in it?
I mean, I would, yeah, but Duggan has built his team on that first 11. Realistically, hasn't he? And he said it. He said it multiple times. Beyond that first 11, he's not got the quality that he wants. I think what will be most disconcerting for him is it never looked close. It was East Coast from kickoff to the final whistle. It was just one of the more dominant displays I've seen, considering that Sancte beat them in the playoffs only 3 or 4 games ago, as far as the save is concerned. At their best, you can look at it and say, "Fuck, we missed 2 of our big players," but they
The other
still had 9.
9.
Yeah, they still had the other 9 available, and as we've said about East Coast repeatedly, they don't have many big names. They're
They've just
just
got the big manager.
exactly. They're just a juggernaut. I mean, look at those 2 names. Realistically, Barry Ferguson gets a lot of love from yourself, obviously. Dario Hussein has done the business in patches in the Super League,
Yeah.
but then they're not a Shevchenko. They're not a Zanetti. Other than them, you're looking and you're struggling for names. Realistically, yeah, it was dominant, and I'm very worried about East Coast being at home to me next. Yeah, I feel like the next opponent in Goldberg's streak when he was in the WCW, and I'm going to get my head absolutely bummed off my neck. It's going to be brutal.
Next up, we had the battle of the brand new manager against the returning new manager. Exiles hosted LSK. We went into this with Rox promising the world in terms of his side were going to be involved in the most goals the Super League has ever seen. He came away with a 1-0 win.
Yeah, but not for the lack of shots and not for the lack of trying. I think if I'm right in saying there's at least 20 shots. There you go. Yeah, that took a while to come up on my screen. 20 shots, 11 on target, which is 10 times as many as LSK had. I mean, that's as dominant a performance as you can get for a 1-0 win.
Despite many changes at Exiles this summer, it's the old guard in terms of Veron getting man of the match and continuing where he left off last year.
Yeah, the same token, you look at the goal scorer is one of my ex-players.
That's the second one.
Sorry, say again.
It's the second one because obviously Savio earlier.
Oh yeah, fucking hell. Yeah, really glad I got rid of both of them. Yeah, Jesus, I didn't even put that 2 and 2 together. Cheers for that. Salt rubbed into me wounds. Fucking dickhead. Yeah, and Aymar going completely AWOL against his former side as well. Yeah, it's. I mean, I wouldn't be worried too much if I was J-Man. I think I said so on stream. Roxy's mad formations have been absolutely dominating the small horse against a lot of Super League managers. Yourself, I've played up against him many times. Steve, Dimble, Tato, we've all come a cropper at points to Roxy's mad formations. He just understands the game engine, and he puts these players in the right position to be really dominant. And getting numbers out of Veron is not a surprise.
No, definitely.
It's a surprise that it's not in the same position that you were getting numbers out of him last season. And it was a surprise that it was only 1-0, realistically.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Bartes' rating there was only an 8, to be fair, when you consider the amount of work he put in.
Yeah, ridiculous. And obviously we had Bartes together in the season that wasn't,
Yeah.
and he did really, really well for us, and he's going to continue to do really, really well if Jamie can get that front line ticking, and I don't think it'll be too long until he does. He'll be fine, absolutely fine. He'll be there or thereabouts in terms of playoffs at the end of the season.
Game number 4 on the list saw the defending champions come out to play, and play they certainly did. 3-0 win at home to Sloths. Alf admitting afterwards he'd submitted the wrong tactic file.
I don't think it would have made any difference, and I think Alf said as much himself. The champions inevitably came strong, did exactly what you'd expect from an Ian Edwards side, just from tip to taint, just completely dominated the game. And in week 1, you look at these fixtures and go, oof, there could be an upset there. Not at all. It completely went to type of what you would expect in a game week 11, 12, something like that, where Burn are already top of the table and sort of dropping like a stone. Yeah, you're worried if you're Alf and Rob and you're getting dicked as hard as that without any fight being put up. But at the same token, you look at it and go, yeah, the formation wasn't right. The players probably not the right players. You're worrying a little bit that you don't know your best 11 and best tactic already.
Ahead of the new season, yeah.
Yeah, it's season 2. But getting beat 3-0 by Burn there's no dishonour in that. They won't be the only team to get taken apart by Burn this season.
No, definitely not. You look at the ratings, and I think it tells you everything. The big players came out for Burn, tactic file not for Sloths, and then you had the likes of Mpenza just not doing the same for the away team. But as you said a couple of times already, or at least alluded to, it's only game 1, no time to panic yet. The team scored the most goals in game week 1, Dudley Hill. They had more than a little bit of assistance. They took on Stackington, and Casillas was sent off 2 minutes into the game. Dudley Hill went on to win 4-1, despite it being 1-1 at half-time. Morientes levelling after the Comodini penalty. But it was
hard
just
work of it.
They certainly did. They certainly did. But when you see the stats, probably deserved. But again, you feel for Ross, his first game, and an absolute calamity from the beginning.
Welcome to the Super League, Ross. 2 minutes in, your keeper's gone. You're down to 10 men. In fairness, it may have, and I think it was alluded to in the chat a little bit there, it may have helped him somewhat because that third centre-back got dropped 2 minutes into the game. And that experiment didn't last very long. I think I've seen his lineup for the next game, and he's already gone to 2 centre-backs and wing-backs. So it's going to be a steep learning curve for Ross this year. He's only had that sort of full season last year as assistant at Stanley to another relatively new manager in Mike. So it's going to be an uphill struggle, if you like, to get the mistakes out of the way early. But you can't really legislate for getting your keeper sent off after 2 minutes and playing behind the 8 ball from then. Really did put up a very good fight in the first half. And I think maybe that 60-minute mark where those big decisions get made and you get a formal winner in Steve making the decisions his end. And I don't think I think he left everything as is, if I'm right saying.
Steve did, yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's the difference there where I've been accused multiple times by Tato, almost over and over and over again, that I chase games too often. In my first season at the Unicorns, that is natural reaction. You're losing, you throw more attackers on, you attack a bit more. You're not creating anything. You try and create a bit more. Where you look at former winners in Stee, in Campbell to a certain extent, and definitely in Ian Edwards' case, and you not a former winner, but very much a future winner in Dimble's case. They don't flinch. They stick with the system they know, and that tends to get results. So I'm going to be trying to do that more this season. I think that was fairly obvious when I was 1-0 down at half time, and realistically, every fibre of my being was saying, I'm assuming you're going to my game next. Every fibre in my being was saying, throw on a third striker, throw on another attacking midfielder. Fuck it. And it didn't happen. We did grow back into the game, in fairness, but couldn't quite get across the line. First week away from home, I was not expecting to come away with anything, but I thought, Stanley, you would hope that I'd be there or thereabouts with them slots, a few other guys in that sort of just about playoff, just below the playoff, maybe looking up towards the playoff sort of spots. So they looked like one of the teams that I would hope to be competitive against. It certainly looked on paper that I was mildly competitive. Certainly not played off the park at all, I don't think. But yeah, it looked like might just add that little bit more in terms of across the team and a few of the ratings. It looked better on screen than it did in the ratings for me.
Emerton obviously picked up an injury in the game. Do you want to sort of divulge the nature of that injury, or is it?
I don't know how long he's out for. Yeah, I don't know how long he's out for, but he is out for the next game at the very least. He's on an orange injury, so potentially back for the following week against Stackington. But I have already announced that he's out for tomorrow, and the young upstart Abubakari Yakubu will be coming in to replace him. Hopefully, he can do a similarly impressive job as Emerton has done. He was the straight swap at the weekend, so it makes sense to do the same again. And Helguera will get himself a chance on the bench. It's either Helguera or Biscan. Can't remember which one I brought on the bench.
A word on Stanley, if we can. Obviously, a lot of people predicting them to struggle this year. So important for them, I think, to get a morale boosting win early doors.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, they look strong, and if you're winning 2-0 and not needing Chigalco to score, that's what gets you titles, realistically. If you look at the last team to win a title with Chigalco was Byrne. He didn't need him to be scoring every single week because he had a raft of players behind him queuing up to score. I don't know that João Pinto will be that guy every single week, but he certainly was this week. Zanoni came in and absolutely stole the show at right wing back as well. Very much an upgrade from Gary Neville. So it was a very astute, very good signing.
The final game on the list is the one that Sunday's co-commentator was overseeing, and it was Haggis winning 1-0 away at Vikings. Absolute scenes as the much spoken about Carlos Jacques scored an injury time winner after, if I recall correctly, Vikings had a goal disallowed.
4 minutes beforehand, yeah. That was actually a good point. I'd forgotten about my goal disallowed right on the stroke of half time as well.
Did?
I knew at that point. I'd forgotten all about that actually, and that would have really changed the dynamic of my game, thinking back to it. But yeah, Vikings looked very, very good. But Haggis just snuck that one across the line. Ian himself has said that he didn't deserve to come away with the 3 points. I think he said it there and then on co-coms. And it's little 1-0 away wins like this that make you champions, contenders. And Cuenca having an absolute worldie again. As you said, Jack's coming in and just hit the ground running straight away as well. Yeah, a lot of the rest of the league will be slightly worried to see how well Haggis getting along there. Obviously, they've also got two new members of the coaching staff as well. Good to see he's got Sadler back in the league, even in a sort of a diminished capacity, a smaller capacity. And also great that Campbell has brought in Teflon Don himself, Paul, into the league. Another lamb to the Haggis slaughter, who are going through staff at an absolute rate of knots at the minute. Got a sort of similar turnover in staff as Kamikaze Pilots, and about as many people signing up to apply as well. So fair play.
Looking ahead to the fixtures for Thursday or tomorrow, as time of recording is, Badgers Burn could be a classic. Coast Foss, you've already kind of written that one off as well, which is unfortunate. Exiles Dudley could be anything, absolutely anything. Haggis LSK
could be a goal fest, in fairness, yeah.
Stackington Sloughs will be interesting to see how both teams bounce back. Stanley hosting Fulchester's interesting, and of course Vikings Sancte again could be an absolute slobber knocker of a tie. So at time of recording, I don't believe I've got a co-coms arranged yet, but I will be opening that up in the chat, and that will be announced in due course who will be overseeing that. Which game, if I was to ask you, stands out immediately?
Well, I mean, yeah, you've managed to get on the same game week probably the most exciting looking game early doors, which is Badgers against Burn, and again on paper, the least exciting game in Stackington versus Sloths, which means that one of them is going to be a 0-0 draw and the other one is going to be a 4-4 barnstormer. And I think we can both work out which way I'm looking at that.
Absolutely. Right, well, that brings us up to date with the Super League. There will be, keep an eye out on Super League socials, as the news, the team news over the last week will be getting published imminently. On our last show, we discussed pre-season predictions, but it went on a bit, the last one, so we put it off to this one. So bring me up to date. What are people, or what have people been saying?
Yeah, so it'd be interesting actually to see if people's predictions have changed. So these predictions obviously were made, as most predictions are, before the first game week had happened, before anything had happened in terms of the league. So it'd be interesting to find out if anybody's thoughts have changed now that they've seen the predicted lineup, the actual lineups, how teams have played, and the results that some teams have picked up already. So it'd be interesting to see if anybody has changed their mind drastically. But I did put a little message into the chat for all the managers and the assistant managers to ask 10 really important questions ahead of the season, to ask who they would nominate in 10 different categories. First question being who was everybody's pick for the grand final winner in season 15.
So I'm going to predict, if that's okay, we hadn't planned this, but I'll predict the outcomes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to predict the majority will have gone Burn as a fairly safe bet.
Yep, they did indeed, yeah. Burn got the most votes out of everybody, but it was actually surprisingly split across quite a few other teams as well.
Coast definitely would have got a mention.
They did indeed. They joint second most with Haggis.
Okay.
And then Exiles, Sancte, and Badgers all got a nomination as well.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Some of those votes were for themselves. Though.
Of course they were.
That one up. And then the next question that was asked was who do everybody believe will be the losing finalist, the runner-up?
Well, if Burn got the majority, I imagine Coast got the majority here.
Exactly that. Yeah, and then sort of
Haggis.
vice versa. Burn did get a couple. Haggis didn't get any votes in this one, surprisingly. But yeah, East Coast far and away the most likely runner-up, according to the voices of the peoples. Badgers, Vikings, Burn getting 2 votes, and Sancte all in with a shout there as well. And then probably the hardest category to pick here, and probably the most people voting with their heads in this one along the lines, because this is for the Wooden Spoon, last place in the league, 14th position.
Well, if I recall, Rose finished bottom on average when we did speak about the average league table, so I'm presuming they must have got therefore the most bottom place nominations.
You would be incorrect. No, it was Sloths that got the lowest average positional prediction. Stackington was just above them, and then Stanley, and surprisingly, our Sloths only got 1 vote for who people would believe.
They must have got a lot of 12ths and 13ths then.
It was exactly that. It was a lot of pretty much everybody believed they'd finish at the bottom 3.
Right.
And nobody expected them to get anywhere above that.
In which case, based on what you said then, Stackington
is indeed, yeah. I think a lot of people have made that prediction, that assumption, based on the fact that it is Ross's first year in the league, and there will be a
wild
bit
in the transfer market.
A learning curve. Exactly. He had the toughest job in terms of trying to dismantle a team built in very, very ingrained in Dan Megahorse's image. Nobody realistically could follow Dan with Dan's players and do as well as Dan did. I mean, we tried with the other Dan at Gazelles, and we did exactly the same. We just gutted the team, ripped it apart, and put our own stamp on it, and it didn't fare particularly well. I mean, we picked up some points here and there.
Yeah, we did all right.
But I think we had the benefit of your experience and
well, what can I say?
And the time I had available to spend on it, where Ross has. Well, I don't know about his availability time-wise, but he certainly doesn't have the experience that you had, or have in the league. So I think, I think that was the easy. It was the get out answer for most people. I think Stackington. Other people that picked up votes there were Badgers, Stanley, Sancte, Fulchester, Exiles, and as I said, Sloss got a vote as well. But yeah, this one was this next category was for the biggest Super League surprise package. Was very, very well contended, this one. So who would you expect to be, or potentially expect people would believe could be a surprise package this season?
Depends on how people have viewed this, really, and what classes is achieving a surprise. The one that instantly jumped out at me was Stanley, but I don't think they would have necessarily got the amount of votes in terms of being a genuine surprise. So I'm going to go with possibly Dudley.
They got 1 vote, yes. Okay. Stanley didn't get any votes. No.
That's what people are basing it on.
Yeah, I think for me,
People will
the way I
interpret that differently.
exactly the way I interpreted it was, I think I voted for Exiles, if I remember rightly, unless the one vote that Exiles got was from Rocks. Um, Effectively, they could be rock bottom, dog shit, get beat every week, and or go full blown Kevin Keegan at Newcastle and score 4 every week and concede 3. Who knows? That for me would be it would be a surprise regardless of where they finish. Um, Others that got a lot of votes were Vikings. I think that the turnaround there could easily be a very, very good redemption arc for Jens,
This
or
is
he could lose interest very quickly. And again,
this is why I say it's interesting how people interpret it, because if I look at the Viking squad, if they're a success this year, I don't see it as a surprise because they've got a very good team.
and a very good manager.
But if
Yeah,
they're basing it purely on what happened at the end of last season to where it finishes this year, then yes, absolutely, they could be the surprise.
exactly. And I think LSK getting a couple of votes there is probably along that similar vein. Realistically, they finished bottom. Um, they should be fine. Stackington got a couple of votes as well. Pretty much finishing 13th or above will be a surprise for most people, I think. And that will go heavily in Stackington's favour. And again, with Sloths, if they finish in the top 10, that'll be a surprise to everybody. And then, surprisingly to me, I got 2 votes as well. The Unicorns got 2 votes for potential surprise package of the season. And in theory, on paper, I've got a number of good players that might be able to do something, but the away form is just so bad. It's so poor. To start
And
with,
the manager hasn't got the best track record.
No, exactly. I've done literally nothing in the Super League apart from finish 11th from 1 point outside the playoffs with the last game.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's again. I understand where that could come from in terms of I could spring a surprise realistically from where I was for the majority of last season in the playoffs, and then fucking it completely towards the end of the season. So yeah, in theory, I could spring a surprise, but it's not going to happen. And then another hotly contested one. In fact, your vote could swing the vote here, as there's a tie for player of the year, potential player of the year here. So I'll tell you what, before
Right, so
I give
they're gonna. Most people would have voted for Ronaldinho because he got it last year.
He is one of the 2, yeah,
and probably one of the 2 strikers at Haggis.
Van Nistelrooy got 2 votes. Vieri surprisingly didn't get any votes.
Okay. So Ronaldinho's one of the 2 then.
He is. Van Nistelrooy isn't. He was 1 vote off. Yeah. The wife beating left winger got 1 vote. Presumably not from his brother, whose wife he shagged. Luis Aha got 1 vote. Paulinho Santos got 1 vote. And Vincenzo Montella got 1 vote. But a surprise to me, potential, it was a Unicorns player that got joint most amount of votes for potential player of the year.
Yeah.
Indeed. So yeah,
if it's out of those 2, I'm always going to pick Ronaldinho.
Exactly. So yeah, congratulations, Ronaldinho. You could go.
I'm sure he'll be buzzing.
He is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There you go. That one I did on purpose. Manager of the Year nominees. Obviously, this was won by Edwards at the end of season awards. Mm-hmm. Got himself a couple of votes as well. Tato, Duggan, and Campbell all got a vote each. But this one themselves? Is actually almost certainly 1 or 2 of them is. Yeah. This one is actually a joint. There's 2 potential manager of the year prediction winners.
One will be Rocks.
Yeah.
And one, I want to say Jens, but I'm going to say Dimble.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, both Dimble and Rox got 3 votes each for
Okay.
potential manager of the year. Um, so
So
if you cast your vote for one of those, we will anoint them the potential manager of the year, and we'll come back to this at the end of the season and go, weren't we stupid?
given that I've already said publicly I think they're the team to win it, it would be remiss of me not to say Dimble.
I think you could be there or thereabouts, in fairness. So yeah, I don't disagree with people's assessment of that, and I think I'm only going to make that 3 points closer. It come about this sort
time
of time
tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. The next category was another sort of hotly contested one. It wasn't at all. Potential for most improved team. And
That's got to be Stanley, surely.
no, again, 0 votes.
People are sleeping on them. I think game week 1 would have maybe made a few people look at them differently.
I think you might be right. Yeah, beating the best team of the league so easily.
LSK then, surely.
Walked it. Yeah, if you finish bottom, you've got a new manager and a big transfer turnaround and a very experienced new manager. Yeah, you're probably looking up towards playoffs rather than bottom end of the season.
A 3 to 5 place game.
Exactly. So Sloth, Sancte, Exiles, Fulchester, Vikings, and again, for some reason, the Unicorns all got potential votes for most improved. This one was far, whereas Jamie and LSK got 5 votes to everybody else's 1, so balked it. Longest losing streak of the season. Obviously,
Fulchester probably got the most
record,
votes.
I'm going to say the record went last year. They didn't get the most votes. They did get the joint second most votes. Stackington again also got the joint most votes, joint second most votes, along with Exiles. So Fulchester, Exiles, and Stackington all got 2 votes each. The Unicorns and Dudley Hill got 1 vote each, but the winners by default, if you like, of the potential for the longest losing streak is, drumroll please, they're already 1 game into this losing streak. It is the Sloths. And to be honest, that could happen. They were probably second longest losing streak, maybe joint second with me, but there or thereabouts. At the end of last season, they went on a horrible streak as well, so that could certainly happen. This was an interesting one. This was a fun question I asked. What did we all think was the next Super League record to be broken after, obviously, that question before the longest losing streak got broken last season? So there's one out-and-out winner here, which is
highest scoring game.
Yeah, highest scoring game, which I believe is 8 goals in a game. The thread that Swanee's been putting out, there's been a few 8-goal thrillers. There was also votes for lowest points total. A title.
There's been some shockingly low points in the past, though, so someone would have to be particularly shit.
Yeah, I imagine you got a really low.
I was definitely down there. I think I've been beaten since.
Yeah, and I think Edwards keeps telling every time he goes
the
on.
BTEC days.
He got a really low score one year as well, I think he says. But that has potential. Most goals conceded, again, potential this year. Longest unbeaten streak, which I believe is
not happening.
That Sancti one.
It's not happening. There's too many good managers.
We said that last year. That it was probably the most competitive, or at least for the first half of the season, it was the most competitive bunch of managers ever assembled, and it certainly looked to be the case. The fact that there was 4 or 5 teams all in with a shout of playoffs on the last game of the season, or the last game of the regular season, in effect, it did look very, very competitive. But still, Duggan and Sancte did go on a very long unbeaten streak.
Yeah.
So it's potentially doable.
Possible, yeah.
Said most goals conceded. The first title with a negative goal difference was also in there from Rocks. And the joint second most voted was most cats removed from screen on stream.
Yeah.
Was also well voted for. But the one that caught my eye, and that the only one that was written by the keeper of records and the newest Hall of Fame inductee, Swanee mentions that Campbell is only 2 wins behind Ian Edwards for all-time wins.
Oh, wow.
So realistically, that is very, very possible that if Campbell wins 2 more games than Ian, or 3 more games than Edwards does this season, he will surpass him. Exactly.
Oh, wow.
There you go. And then the most important category of the night, the most, again, really, really hotly contested. This one, there was 3 people in with a really good shout of winning this one, and it was the Super League's best Louis Theroux lookalike.
It's a tough one.
If we were really professional, we would put a picture up here of Louis Theroux.
You didn't prep me. You didn't prep me for it.
Directly next to this fucking face.
I'm gonna say Steve Wright won that one.
Steve Wright, who looks nothing like Louis Theroux.
Yeah, but I know that you've intentionally put this category in so that you could win something, and I know that the guys wouldn't have let me down, and they would have picked someone else.
I got 1 vote other than from myself. So excellent. I did get 2 votes intentionally because I want to win something. Rob got a vote, Jamie got a vote, Campbell got 2 votes as well. But probably the obvious winner, and who you are going to vote for to make sure that I don't win this category, was your cat. Got 2 votes as well.
Nice. Well done, Bobbit.
Congratulations, Bobbit. You are this season's Louis Theroux lookalike. So 2 categories now.
And congratulations to Louis Theroux.
Louis, congratulations.
You look like my cat.
Love it. And sort of finally, before we step into Christmas, as the famous poet, whoever wrote that song, said, we've had a couple of questions for Fyfie, just flying in as well. Yeah, Del, we are balls deep in the mailbag. That's me.
Let's get comfortable.
That's me digging deep into the mailbag there. If Fyfie could bring back one manager from the early years, who would it be and why?
Ooh. Early years. It depends what I'm looking for. I would have liked to have seen, in the same way I'd like to see Jens succeed, I would have liked to have seen Thiago succeed. That old hooligan side was great. But I'm going to go, I'm going to get this wrong, aren't I? I want to say his name was Matt, the guy that was in charge of Rapid Apollo, just so we can get the GIF back. I missed the GIF. He had one. So he had one particular GIF of, I want to say it was supposed to be spacemen, but they were like, I think they were like cardboard spacemen or something, and they were just dancing on the moon. But every time, because his team was Rapid Apollo, every time they would win, in the same way you used to get a good morning message in the group chat, you would always see this GIF. And it just, and the GIF just makes me smile because it's harmless, it's playful, but it's just funny.
It's just stupid. Good.
If someone can find the GIF, can you just tweet it for no reason and tag Super League in it, please, just to cheer me up?
Lovely. We will try and dig that out for you.
Someone find me
Next
that gift,
episode.
because I've tried to find it and I can never find it.
What would your death row meal be? Your last meal?
Death row, you get 3 courses.
You can have whatever you want. I imagine as your last meal, you can ask for an infinite amount of spam. And realistically, they have to do everything in their power to oblige.
God, no. I would probably go Christmas dinner style carvery, like full pigs in blankets, parsnips, Yorkies, etc., with probably an apple crumble and custard to follow.
So fruit and vegetables in your last meal.
Yeah.
So that's the
got to be
answer.
balanced.
Unfortunately, that is the wrong, incorrect.
I don't maintain this athletic physique by not having a balanced diet. And I say that in the knowledge that because I have been training both tonight and last night, I haven't actually eaten a meal since Monday. I've been just snacking for the last 48 plus hours. And my stomach is screaming at me while we're recording this. Will you please put something inside me?
Food, presumably.
Well, in an ideal world.
I've seen cucumbers do some stretching.
Anyway, food.
Yeah, mostly water. 3 fantasy transfers. There you go. Fuck's sake! I keep catching myself. 3 fantasy transfers that you'd like to see in the league.
So is this players I'd like to leave one club to another, or players that aren't in the league come in?
So effectively, teams that you think are one move away from stardom, if you
like. One sec.
You get the squads up.
I am, yeah. I think, given the injury that they've got, I think if Exiles could get one of Haggis's 2 strikers, they would be very much in there. I'm looking at your team, and I'm thinking if you could get a... See, that formation, though. I'm thinking if you could potentially get a...
different first 11?
Well, no, I'm just looking at... It's because the formation you play, but if you could potentially get Ronaldinho, I think you would be a different animal altogether.
And then move Riquelme back into midfield?
Quite possibly, yeah. He did better for me in centre mid than attacking mid. And then I'm also looking at... No, they're okay. What about... I think if Fulchester... See, I quite like their attacking options. But, again, he's playing the boring formation everyone's playing because he sold his soul in the hunt of glory. I think if Fulchester could add maybe a Giggs or a Zé Roberto, or even to an extent like a Dede maybe, that would potentially offer up more options in an attacking midfield perspective.
Move Robin into midfield.
Yeah. So, having no time to prepare an answer for that, those are the 3 that instantly jumped out at me. Coast, I don't think need anything. Burn don't need anything. Haggis probably don't need anything.
You say that to me. I think if Coast could get one of those 2 Haggis strikers.
See, I completely understand where you're coming from with that.
If you're looking at a Shevchenko with one of those 2,
well,
that's a big front line.
You say that again, but Dimble's got absolute numbers out of Hussein before, and
Yeah,
if you look at it the other way and have Hussein as your main one, and then you mix that up with any one of Shevchenko, Viduka, Shearer as well, not forgetting that Rivaldo's there that can do a job if needed as well. I think he's got plenty bite up top,
yeah.
in my opinion, anyway.
He's going to be up there regardless. Yeah, not a problem at all. Yeah, that is the end of the Smuts' mailbag for Fyfie's. We need names for these sorts of segments that I'm making.
We're still early days yet, mate. We're still early days. We need proper graphics and stuff.
Yeah, we'll get.
So let's finish on a happy note away from the Super League. Then, obviously, you've celebrated Junior's birthday today, so Christmas is next on the horizon. What is Christmas looking like for Lord and Lady Smuts?
Well, I'm in trouble with my sister at the minute. Apparently, my nephew asked for Minecraft, not the autobiography of a certain German former leader. So I did get that one mixed up, and that's why my wife normally buys the presents. Other than that, we've been preparing that one all week.
Very good.
That one all week. That one. No, we're seeing family and stuff, so it's going to be another one where we will be up dead early, opening presents, and because he's only 2. I mean, you saw him. How long it took him to open your present earlier? It's going to be a long old stint. So but
it's also a great age because he just loves every single present he gets.
Exactly that. We saw how he sat and played with your present for ages, and that was every single present this morning as well. There was sit absolutely obsessed with this present for the entire time until somebody rustles some more wrapping paper over here. Come on, here we go. Shiny. So and the house is full of presents that those kids have got so lucky, unbelievably lucky. And I've already spent too long this holiday period putting Skate Electrics and Hot Wheels and train sets. And honestly, I put more stuff together than an IKEA flat pack furniture maker. It's going to be non-stop. I mean, it does make me feel quite butch putting stuff together.
I can imagine.
Usually, my job is just to be in charge of the batteries on Christmas. Know where the batteries are, make sure the rechargeable ones are set, they're ready to go, and keep them ticking over nicely. But now I've got myself one of the little mini screwdrivers to put stuff together as well. So I'm actually taking off the little flap to put the batteries in now.
You're so manly.
Going up in the world. Yeah.
Nice.
What about yourself? What's your big plans?
So as far as I understand, Aidan has a lot of plans that he wants to do Christmas Eve. So he'll spend we'll spend Saturday together. Christmas Eve, I'll drop him back off with his mum. I'm not sure what time, but given the amount of plans they seem to have, I imagine it'll be relatively early.
About midday, yeah.
Possibly. And then, obviously, we're set to stream. I haven't got any streaming to do on Christmas Eve. So it'll just be me, myself, and I, unless something crops up in the meantime for me to do Christmas Eve.
I'm sure we can find something.
And then Christmas Day, I will be over to theirs at the crack of dawn, so I can be there to watch Aidan open his gifts. It's my year to have him for Christmas dinner, so we will leave there, come back to mine. So we alternate each year, whether he spends Christmas Day with me or with his mum, and then Christmas evening with me or with his mum. And 2 years ago, when it was my turn to have him in the day, I'm not sure how it came about, but I just happened to Sky Plus a load of like Christmas special quiz shows, And he absolutely loved it. And we sat there while I was kind of cooking the dinner and stuff, and we were playing all these different Family Fortunes, Blankety Blank, all that kind of thing that they've done the Christmas specials of.
Love that.
And he's already said to me the other day, can we do that again? So I'm frantically looking through the TV guide for which TV shows are doing Christmas specials so I can have them prepared, because I don't want to let him down on Christmas Day. His mum will pick him up probably about 4:30, 5 o'clock, I think. They're going to his aunt's. And then I will spend Christmas evening on my own again, unless something crops up for me to do Christmas evening. And then he stays with his mum Boxing Day, so I'm going to be pretty much football inundated Boxing Day. I'm watching as much as I can. I'm doing a live FRI post-match sort of fan reaction to what I imagine is us getting torn an absolute new one by Wrexham. That's it. Right, Ryan Reynolds is bringing Mickey Mouse on Boxing Day to the county ground,
and obviously you've got an interview lined up with him as well.
Yeah. And then I've given myself, with approximate timings, I've given myself kind of an hour to 90-minute rest between Swindon fans moaning at me about the result to Super League managers moaning at me for their results.
Yeah.
I think it's the first time I've ever done Fools and Super League on the same day.
On the same day, really? Wow.
Then I get Aidan back 27, 28, dropping back off with his mum on the 29th. I'm heading down to Swindon. I'm going to go watch Swindon versus Forest Green. And then it's the Fools Rushing Christmas party. I'm going to go out for an Indian and then hit Old Town. And I'm sure there'll be a few shots on offer. 30th, I come back. I think on the 30th, despite the fact I'm going out on the 29th, and when I go out with the Fools, it's normally kind of a 2 a.m. finish for me. I've said I'd take my sister to watch Wonka because Aidan doesn't want to go with me because he's at that age now where he doesn't want to spend time with his dad. So he's gone to see Wonka with his mates, and I'm going to watch it with my sister. Then I'm going to go and watch a local non-league team where we sponsor a player through our podcast.
I love that.
So going to go watch them. And then on my way back, I'm diverting across Leicestershire to come and visit you and Lady Smuts on my way home. And then I get Aidan back New Year's Eve.
Nice. Lovely.
So that's my full play-by-play of what I've got. I'm
impressed with that. I like the fact that you actually know what your plan is.
Well, the thing is, mate, I don't have someone in control of what I'm doing. I have to be an adult and actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, day to day, I pretty much just do as I'm told, and I could not tell. Genuinely, I couldn't tell you what the plan is, other than Christmas Day. I've been told what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that at some point we need to fit in going to watch Aquaman.
We do, yes,
because that's my Christmas present from you, but we don't know when we can fit it in yet.
Yeah, which means at some point before then, I need to fit in watching the first Aquaman, so that I know what the fuck's happening. So far, the only thing I know that happens is that Amber Heard has ruined it. That's all I know. You know.
And of course, it won't be long.
Somehow, I didn't even know she was in the first one, but somehow she's ruined
both of them.
Retroactively ruined that one and has ruined the next one going forward somehow. I don't know.
And of course, by the time all of that's happened, it'll be time to talk birthdays as well and what we're going to do to celebrate the 34th anniversary of me being born. So
exactly,
that's coming up on the horizon as well. I'm thinking Roxy's Ballroom might need hitting. We've not been for a while.
Oh, hello. Yes.
Especially now there's one in Leicester. A live podcast recording throughout the night. Late limbs from Roxy's Ballroom.
A Patriot late limb special where it's each game. It's Smuts versus Fyfie on each. Yeah.
Me. Well, obviously we've got 2 more actual Super League episodes before the big fat man in the red outfit and the beard comes and drops his load out of his sack into everyone's house. But for late limbs, this is it. This is it before Christmas. So although we will obviously talk from a purely professional perspective, I'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas. I'd like to wish anyone who has opted to spend an hour or so listening to us rabbit nonsense about a fancy football game and our lives a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for everything. For anyone who has spent any time in 2023 enjoying Super League content, we thank you and hope that Super League alongside Late Limbs will entertain you going into 2024. General Smuts, I will leave you with the final views before Christmas.
Well, first thing, I'd like to echo those sentiments. Yeah, I really, really, really appreciate all the nice feedback we've been getting. Considering it's me and you would have expected somebody to have gone, it's fucking shit, Smuts. Would you just give it a rest? Fucking ugly cunt. Stop it. Just shut up.
Are they talking to me now?
It could be either of us. Yeah, the split screen between the two of us. It's like a before and after photo, but I don't know which
There's
way.
something for everyone in this screen, isn't there?
Yeah. Exactly.
Hang on. Let's just get the gun show out as well. Just for someone else.
I can't do that because if I did that, it looks like Popeye is on a strict no spinach diet.
Do you know what? That camera angle actually looks quite good because there's nothing there.
Yeah. Whereas like a cartoon, my arm just sort of inverted arm muscle.
I like this camera that I've got.
Jesus Christ! And on that bombshell, no, yeah, of course, it's. I hope everybody has a delightful holiday period. We have got some ideas for maybe some sort of special episode.
GACK box. We're talking
exactly. Yes, potentially depends on who's available. Might even be able to extend a welcome out to the rest of the Super League, because we're all sad, lonely virgins that are all going to be stuck indoors on New Year's Eve. So potentially, we could all drink alone in our homes together. And play some silly little games on the internet. So yeah, it's an idea. That might be fun. Steve could become the cutter again.
Oh no!
Roll back the
years. PTSD.
But yeah, other than that, it's a happy Christmas, happy New Year, all that jazz.
Viva the Super League.
Viva the Super League, yeah. Top draw. Enjoyed that.
Ciao, everybody.
Toodles.